Hello, welcome back to another Tabletop Talk. Today I thought I'd take a few minutes about learning a new game. As you all know, I have recently got the PC version of Replay Basketball, and just after that, got the Cards and Dice version. So I'm trying to learn it and figure it out. And so I had a few thoughts about that might be interesting and maybe get a conversation going. As usual, would appreciate any comments that might add to the conversation in the comment section. It's interesting as I am trying to learn this game. I was kind of asking myself why, what about it, and it's I don't know if anybody else feels this way, but for me, it's the challenge. As I get older, I'm finding that I want to challenge myself with things like this. I would say my game learning ability probably is right around average. As I scope out other gamers on YouTube, there's certain guys and gals who obviously can just pick up things and there's no problems, even the complicated things. And then there's others who prefer, the easy gameplay and things like that. So I'd say I fall about in the middle. Certain games challenge me to where I really don't enjoy them, and then games, if they're too easy, I don't enjoy that either. So I like games that are in-depth enough to kind of capture the sport it's trying to capture and to challenge me a little bit, and then but that's not so glossy that it doesn't feel like the sport. I'm not a real big fan of like fast action games where you just get the results. I love stats and things like that. So that's kind of where I'm at. So again, as I survey the landscape, I'd say I kind of fall in the middle there as far as the ability to pick up on games. And also, the more of these you play, there seem to be some common denominators that kind of build the foundation for you learning another game. And I think the more games you learn, the more of those foundational elements you have in your arsenal. And so, that kind of helps. But as I get older, I feel like I learned these games quicker when I was younger. I feel like that I could pick them up. Now, it's possible I didn't have as many things competing, and when you're younger, you have more time and focus. You don't have a lot going on, so you can really devote a good amount of your attention to learning it. And as kids, we tend to be pretty persistent with something. So as adults, I think we kind of get to where we will give up on things a little quicker than we would when we were kids. But also, as you get older, I imagine there's not as many brain cells at your disposal, so that could be part of it. So I find that it's sort of important for my mental health, and I'm exaggerating a little, to try to figure these games out. And so I enjoy that. It's kind of like a puzzle that, I feel a sense of accomplishment when I have accomplished it, figured it out. And so that's one reason I like learning these games. It's interesting. I find myself, and I don't know if anybody else experiences this, but I find myself not able to go forward sometimes if I don't know everything completely. And then I also find myself, I'm constantly afraid that I'm forgetting something. And when I think about that, I'm not for sure why that's a problem. When you go into a game, I think it's a reasonable expectation that for the first few efforts, maybe even past that, you're not going to catch everything, and if you don't, it's not that big a deal. That's not going to ruin the game. But I find myself doing that. I'll start, a game 5 or 6 times and won't get halfway through the game before I quit and start over because I'm afraid I forgot something. So I don't know why my expectation is that I have to have it completely down before I can finish a game. I think that's ridiculous. So I don't know if anybody else experiences that, but that's an odd thing that I'm observing in myself. And and also I feel like it's important for me to get the game down the way the creator created it before I try to do any home brewed or changes. I feel like that if I don't know how they wanted it, then I might be missing out on something. In other words, you don't know if you don't like it if you don't try it. And so, again, in a game like this replay basketball here, there's a lot of things going on. I'd say it's a medium in-depth game as far as the all the different aspects. It's a great engine, and especially with the cards and dice version, there's a bit to remember, and so I'm still learning, and so I need to give myself the freedom to get through a game understanding that I'm not going to have every single detail down. I'm going to forget things. I'm going to make some mistakes, but as I think about it objectively from the outside, I don't think that's going to ruin the experience. And then once I get the game down to where I feel like I'm confident, then I can, do a more substantial replay of some kind. So, again, that's a struggle, trying to give myself that freedom to make mistakes and to learn and to grow. I've watched a few Dave Gardner videos, and I admire his attitude toward this. I've heard him say, I'm not an expert in this game, I'm going to make a few mistakes, but I'm just going to have a little fun. And so I think that's something I kind of need to lean in more in order to be able to accomplish that. So, just, a few things that I was thinking about as I was trying to pick up this game. A few things that are helping me learn the game. Obviously, the first one would be YouTube videos. There's quite a few YouTube videos for the PC version of this, but not very many. Matter of fact, I think I've only found 2 for the cards and dice, and they both were by Steve from After Further Review. And so those were helpful, but there's not many on this game. Payoff Pitch, there was quite a few with that one, so that was very helpful. If there's a computer version of it, that definitely helps a lot, especially if the computer version is faithful to the cards and dice, which replay definitely is. So coming into this one, having played the computer, I had a lot of understanding of how the game works. Now, one problem with that is that because it does the calculating for you, I kind of get mentally lazy, and so I let it, I try to figure out some things, but a lot of times I just play. Nothing wrong with that, but when you do go to the cards and dice, you definitely have to put on your thinking cap and focus a bit more than you do when you're playing the computer version of it. But if there is a computer version, that's definitely a learning tool. I know Inside Pitch, their computer version, you can definitely learn some things about the game, even though it doesn't do the autoplay and some of those type things. Obviously, the directions that come with the game are a resource, and I find that quite often there'll be third-party instructions, like bullet points or aids that people basically just word the directions in a different way, and quite often that's helpful to me. I find that if it's worded differently, sometimes it'll click more than if, than the directions that come with the game. And the community, we have a lot of great people in this community, a lot of people who do, mods and helps and extra things. Just case in point, this score sheet that I found on the replay website is great. It came as a Excel file, but I made it a PDF, and I'm able to type in the the names. But what's cool is that on the company score sheet, all this stuff is just blank, but on this you actually got little boxes that you can X, and I find that I like that quite a bit better. That helps me keep score, and so things like that are wonderful. And so a lot of people in this community, no matter what game you play, you can find resources and extra helps and things like that that really aid in the gaming and add to the experience. Forums are another great place to look. I know I use that extensively, like a lot on my on payoff pitch. I use it on replay. I'm finding I'm using it here. 2nd and 10, I'm learning that game, and I'm using that resource. So Delphi forums, typically I've found a group for every game so far that I've looked, and there you can ask questions, and quite most of the time you'll get answers to your questions, and so I have found that's an invaluable resource to learn a new game. And so again, that's a really cool thing about our community, is that there's a lot of people who are, whether it's having a YouTube channel or adding different things that help in the game, there's just a lot of people who are trying to help others enjoy the hobby as well. And learning a new game can be frustrating. I mean, it can be a challenge, and sometimes you have to put it down for a little bit and come back to it. But when you learn the game and you start playing it to where you feel confident, there's a lot of joy in that. So again, as to how much of that you want to tackle depends on everybody and their, mental capacity, which, everybody's different and what they're looking for is different. So, but those are some things that are helpful, that are helping me to try to learn the game. And so just thought I'd share those thoughts. And if anybody has anything to add, I would definitely appreciate it. Again, I enjoy the conversations that we have, and the comments help other people as they're trying to learn new games too. So I appreciate it, and I will see you next time.